So today I have two short little story times. I don't know how interesting they are, but I thought they were kind of worth sharing. So they're both related to toe injuries. So take that for what you will. So the first story is the one that happened a little over a year ago, and it was kind of a weird day. So I just want to share it with you guys. It would have been hilarious if I was vlogging it, but I was not. So I had to go get my driver's permit, and I was at school that day, so I left, and then I got all the way to the courthouse, realized I didn't have my wallet with me, and so I had to go back to school, get my wallet, and when I was walking up the stairs to my school, they have like these cement stairs built into like the side of this little hill. I hit my toe really badly because I was pissed off, excuse my language, but I was pissed off, and I felt like this pain in my right big toe, and I was like, oh, it's nothing, you know, I shouldn't have done that, was stupid. And then so I went around with my day, and I got my ID, came back out, and by the time I had got back to the courthouse, I was in a car, by the time I got back to the courthouse, my toe was like in so much pain, and it's like, I'm not the kind of person who complains about pain. I'd like to think that I have a high pain tolerance and whatnot. But I literally said to my mom, like, I think it's broken. And then so she's like, whatever, you know, if it continues to hurt really badly and you can't walk, I'll take you to the ER. So we went into the courthouse, and that went completely fine. I got my photo taken for my new ID and whatnot. And then I went back to school, and there was like this free period, and I got a call from this acting school that and they told me that I had gotten in, and I just had like one more like little interview to do, and so there was not an open classroom to like go into. So there's this like little room in my school that was like had couches in it and whatnot, and just like for like chilling. A lot of people ate lunch in there. It was weird, but so I was like literally just like I was so nervous. I was like walking around the room. I was on the phone with this acting school, and they're just like asking me all these questions. It's crazy. If you've ever done it, it was so strange. They're like asking me like, oh, like what are your like acting credentials and stuff, and I was like kind of weirded out because like all that stuff was on my applications. Like they're talking about like what kind of performing arts I had done, and I told them how I have been a dancer most of my life, and how I was like doing this like theater program at my school, and like the pieces that I was doing for that, and you know I felt really proud of them and whatnot. And so then they were like, well, you know, you're in and whatnot. I'm like, yeah, it's really nice. And the part that like was like so insane and so surreal to me was at the end of like near the end of the interview, the guy I was talking to was super friendly. He was like, can I speak to your manager just so we can like verify all of this, and just so that, you know, if there's anything missing, they can like add any information that's like good and I guess like supplemental information. And I know it's not like crazy or anything. I was just like, that was like the moment I was like, holy fucking shit, like I got into this acting school, it's really good, and everyone else who got into it probably has a freaking manager. And that was just crazy. And I was walking around and I was like, fuck, my toe is really broken, so I was like acting my heart out to not be in pain. And I don't know, that was just, I think it's funny. My toe was broken. I actually had my theater class after that free period, and my theater teachers like took a look at it, and she'd like, she was an older woman who had a couple of kids who are now adults, and she's like, yeah, like this happened, like something similar happened to one of my sons, and you know it's definitely broken. And like she got me to like call my mom, who was at work at that point, and who took me to the ER, and I found out it was broken. And so this is another funny little bit. I was looking at apartments near the school and whatnot, and for any of you who live in LA or are familiar with the layout, there's a little like suburban neighborhood. It's called North Hollywood. It's a pretty safe place to live. There's some cheap apartments there, and I was looking into apartments there on my phone while we were waiting for the radiologist. So eventually the radiologist comes. He's not much older than myself. He was like really friendly and talking, and he like asked me where I was from, and I was like, oh, I'm from here. And he's like, oh, cool, I just moved from North Hollywood. And it was like, oh, I just got into acting school and I'm looking at places there. So it's like another little funny thing. Again, it was really surreal that day. It was crazy, and I think it's super funny. So I don't know how interesting that story was. The other story is not as exciting. I think I'll maybe talk about it in a vlog or whatnot. But I am not going to acting school, but I have a fun story about the day that I got into acting school and just like little surreal little things. I think that day was really funny looking back on it. Obviously, toe injuries are really painful. I didn't need to be on crutches or anything. I just got some pain meds, and like they're basically like, yeah, just don't, like over exercise or anything. Yeah, toes, little funny unknown fact about toe injuries, unless you've had them. Toes never really heal. So I was in a situation the other day where I had to get my feet x-rayed for another injury, and like all my toes are fine except that one's still a little crooked, which is kind of scary because I have a pretty active lifestyle. I walk a lot, I like running. I'm not an athlete, but I really like running, and so it's like it's kind of weird that it'll never really go back to the way it was. But I mean, lesson learned, don't hit your foot against concrete out of anger, and I'm just really super grateful that it wasn't a super prolonged injury. But when my little side note, when my theater teacher sent me home because I had a broken toe, she while I was waiting for my mom to pick me up, she's like on the phone with one of like the directors of this theater program, and she's like, hi, yeah, I need to talk to you about I have this kid who's performing in a few different things for this competition, and he has a broken toe, and like I just don't want that to affect his score or anything, because one of the pieces that I was doing involved like a little short fight scene, and like that, I mean, thankfully I think it went fine. I'm really proud of that piece, but it didn't end up affecting me at all acting wise for that thing. But I think it's funny, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I don't really do story times because my life's kind of boring, but I post videos on Mondays and occasionally Fridays or other times throughout the week. So if you like this video, maybe consider watching some of my other videos or subscribing. I hope you all are having a great day, and I'll see you in my next video.